right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL, the Hot 6 GSL Code A Round 3. This is the third round, what some might call round 24. And what that means is that today, the players that win advance to Code S directly. So Slayer's Rung is going back to Code S. OGS Supernova failing in the first match. But of course, he is going into the up and down matches. So he will still have a chance to be in Code S next season as well.
Yeah, and talking about Hot 6, I definitely know what I forgot during the break. I wanted to get me one. It's Wolf's fault. Wolf made me try it again, and now I'm kind of addicted, and everyone at the GOM house is always drinking Hot 6, and every time I have a craving now, it's really annoying. So next break you have to remind me if I forget it again.
I'll try and remind you.
Yeah.
All right.
If I start with my withdrawal symptoms, that's not healthy for my environment, so make sure to remind me.
Good stuff. Yeah, we...
I kind of cut off your train of thought, didn't I?
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, I was just noticing, like, yeah, usually they have it in the... they have it lying around, but I guess there's not a bunch of it lying around at the moment. You have to track it down.
Oh, there's still some in the back. I know that for sure, but well...
It's okay.
Okay, so we are heading into Terran versus Protoss, and we'll mention it during the game as well because I want to capture it for the VODs. But I thought it was really interesting that TaeJa told me on the way from Assembly back to Seoul, he told me that he was talking to Hero quite a lot, and that Hero taught him a build, or that Hero was at least able to help him with a build that TaeJa had against Protoss in order to help him out a little bit against his games against Squirtle. So TaeJa is really, really confident when it comes down to his TVP now. Yeah. And he also has a really decent record as it is, so we are going to see if he is able to get his Code S spot. That will actually be awesome. And yeah, he's a nice guy. He's very young.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah, TaeJa is a really cool guy. He's... what?
And he's not in Korea. You are allowed to drink when you're 20. Well, guess what? In Finland, you are allowed to drink when you're 18. TaeJa had a lot of fun.
Really?
He behaved himself.
He's so mild-mannered. I wouldn't expect him. Okay, so I would expect him to behave himself. He's a very like shy.
Yeah, he is
kind of a guy. He's still very cheerful, but you know some of these other guys like Ryung. A little bit more gregarious. He's a little bit more laughable. TaeJa, he's kind of a little more timid and
when we went, we had some food at the first day of assembly, and we ordered everyone a beer. And TaeJa kind of looked at it and was like, "What's wrong?" And then suddenly Paul starts grinning, and he's like, "Well, in Korea, he's not allowed to drink alcohol." We're like, "What?" I didn't even know how old he was, so I was like, "Okay, so you're seriously not allowed to drink alcohol in Korea?" And I offered to drink it. I was like, "Okay, well, if..."
How generous of you, Kaldor.
Thank you. That was exactly my notion. I was like, "Okay, if I have to, I'll drink it. I'll sacrifice myself." But yeah, he drank the beer.
He drank the beer.
Yeah, he was a little bit afraid that he would be drunk, and I kind of reassured him that after one beer he would not be like wasted. So he drank the beer, and that was it for the day. And he just wanted to make sure that he's okay for the next one because he had to play. But yeah, the thought at first never crossed my mind. So I just saw him just nipping at this beer, and I was like, "What's wrong? Don't you like the European beer? Do you prefer the Korean beer?"
Was that his first beer?
Yeah, apparently. And Paul just starts laughing right next to me, and I'm like, "What's wrong?"
That's funny.
It was pretty cool.
That is awesome. It's always cool to be able to just get an opportunity to hang out with some of these players.
Yeah.
You don't get to, know too much. That's why I always try and tell you guys what I know about their personalities, because you don't get to see that usually on screen. Usually don't do ceremonies or anything like that, but they're definitely cool guys to hang out with. All of them are really nice. If you actually come down to the studio, then you can probably walk up to the players, and I mean, if you say hi, some of them don't know any English at all, but they'll know hi. And you can say fighting, kind of like saying good luck.
We had a really great time.
And they'll smile, and they'll talk to you. If they know a little bit of English, they'll try and say a couple words to you.
The cooler thing about Assembly was that they booked everyone in the same hotel. So if you hang around at the lobby for about 5 minutes, they will suddenly Wydra walks up to you, and he's like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" And suddenly you have Cass and all these other players, and the Team Liquid guys. So it was really, really nice.
Nice.
But there's one thing you have always to remember. If TLO hangs around, make sure to log out of Twitter.
I saw that. I saw that on your Twitter.
He just White is going for some kind of interview with me because he wants to have a statement for the Russian community, and suddenly TLO drops by and he's like, "Nice! I really like that you're going for it as well." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he was like, "I saw your Twitter announcement. I really, really like it." I'm like, "What Twitter announcement?" And I see what he did there. I'm like, "What is happening?" So I checked my Twitter, and
That's
TLO
funny.
just kind of kidnapped my Twitter and was like going, "Guys, do you want me to get a beard as well?" and everybody took it serious. Everyone was like, "No," and half of them were like, "Maybe you can pull it off, but still, I think you need to grow hair on your head first." And I was like, "Okay, well,
Hey,
guys, there was actually a troll," and
you-
everybody, "Oh, good one, TLO."
There is clinical, scientifically proven proof that you can look good with a beard without having hair on the top of your head.
I tried it. I know that.
Case in point, Dustin Browder.
Yeah, I didn't try that kind of beard.
Okay.
No, it was really funny, and TLO apparently really liked it. He was just laughing the whole time. I was
That's
like, "Yeah,
funny.
well, wait, I'll get you at some point."
That's cool. Who was it that came up to you and asked you about it? That alerted you? Was White Raw or someone else?
No, it was just when I was talking to White Raw because he wanted
okay.
to capture a statement for the Russian community, and then
I see,
TLO
I see.
himself came up and was like, "Yeah, I read that." So
okay,
he was
okay.
kind of double trolling me.
Double trolling you?
Yeah.
Wow. Double troll. That is some high level
Yeah,
meta trolling right there.
that was pretty amazing. Really good. I blame Mr. Bitter though. Mr. Bitter was sitting to the PC right next to it. He should have realized what was happening and should have defended my honor. But I think
Well. These things happen.
By the way, talking about things that happen, talking about something that doesn't happen, why is TaeJa... Oh, Squirtle is leaving the lobby, actually. TaeJa's not joining, but Squirtle is leaving, so everybody's leaving. Looks like we have we have the only ones left. I think we should leave as well.
We can just have a game by ourselves. Observe,
we could try.
observe. We can add a couple computers. Players Ryung chilling behind us. If you noticed me a second ago kind of giving a funny look off screen, it's because he was over there kind of like giving me a funny like eyeballing. Anyway. Out. There we go. So we were supposed to leave the other lobby. We're going to start a new lobby here. Maybe we had the wrong map or something like that. The map is going to be Metropolis.
Yeah.
Not Metalopolis. Metropolis. Down the street from Metalopolis. Of course, if you combine the two, if they had their suburbs merge into each other on the sides, it would be the greater Metropolis area. I don't know. Save me, Kaldor. Say something else.
Nice weather today.
I'm
serious.
No, seriously, it has been so nice here lately.
The thing is,
It's been above freezing every day for a
Finland
week.
was so cold.
Oh,
the thing about
yeah.
Europe that I completely
Yeah.
forgot, I checked the weather report before I went to Helsinki, and 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago it was like minus 25 degrees. So I was like really bummed out, and I checked the weather report, and it's like, oh, it's only -4. I'm like, yes. So I fly to Helsinki, and I look out of the window, and I was like, okay, the thing that you forgot about Europe in winter is in Europe it actually snows, because here in Korea it kind of snows once every 3 weeks,
Yeah.
something like it. And there was just snow everywhere in Finland. It was so cold. Paul was complaining the entire time. Was like, too cold. Why is snow always hitting me? The entire time was complaining about the weather, and he was right. So we go back to Korea, and suddenly here it is so warm. I didn't even need a jacket
It's
today.
nice.
It's awesome.
It's been really, really nice.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Although next week,
Psst, don't spoil it. Hey, come on. If you ruin it for me right now, I will be so cross with you. I'm enjoying myself now, and don't tell me about any blizzard or thunderstorm.
no, I wasn't going to tell you about the weather here next week. I was going to say next week I'm going to be in California, where it's going to be
I hate you.
10 degrees warmer.
I hate
Celsius.
you. Send me a postcard.
Okay, I have the GOM house's address. I can
Okay.
send you a postcard at the GOM
I
house
want to have a postcard.
from sunny California. Here are our two players, by the way. Again, very close in rankings. I noticed that Supernova and Ryung were like 24 and 28, 63 and 66 for these two guys. Very closely ranked. And yeah, both. Well, actually, TaeJa has been in Codas before. Squirtle, this is actually his first time getting this far. It seems. I thought he was in he was in Code A before, but I guess he hasn't been in Code S. Or maybe I'm just not looking far enough back. Let me double check his records here.
Well, I can tell you that those two already faced each other once before, and we can talk a little bit about it during the game. I think we are heading off into the next match in just a few seconds. The lobby is ready, the players are as well. So I think we are only waiting for the Korean commentators, and then we can start the match, and here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Protoss versus Terran is coming up in just a few seconds. We have StarTaeJa against Slayers.
Yeah, I was just looking up. Actually, Squirtle has not been in Code S before. He's been to the up and down matches. He's been in Code A a couple times, but this is his shot to get into Code S. The game is about to begin. Game number 1, TaeJa versus Squirtle on Metropolis. Let's get into the game.
Here we are, guys, on Metropolis. We have at the left side of the corner in the red color our Terran player, and he's starting for Slayers.
Slayers TaeJa.
Slayers TaeJa just came back to Korea yesterday, and he's pretty confident in his match against Protoss. Talked to Hero quite a bit in Helsinki, and has apparently a build ready for Squirtle that Hero helped him with. The top right in the blue color we have his opponent. It's none other than
StarTaeJa Squirtle.
and TaeJa and Squirtle, they already faced each other in December at the GSL November up and down matches, and well, this match ended in favor of TaeJa, so let's see if he's able to pull it off once again.
Yeah, I feel like TaeJa is a little bit better player. Squirtle's been in really good shape lately, though. He just performed extremely well in the team league last week, getting a 3-kill to get the win for his team. So he's definitely got a very good chance here. I'd say I'd put it at like 55% TaeJa is what I would say. 55-45, about that.
The map that they played at the time was, by the way, dual side, just as a side note. And they didn't only face each other at this occasion, but also in September, and in the best of 5, where TaeJa took the game with a 3-2. So the last few engagements that those two had always ended in favor of TaeJa, even though it was kind of close.
3-2 is very close, though, yeah.
Yeah, Squirtle was at least able to get a couple of maps, and it was an ESV Korean Weekly. It was the final, and I don't know about the maps, unfortunately, but still, pretty interesting to note.
Yeah, September was so long ago, though,
Yeah.
and this is now. This is the important time. These players have been practicing very hard for this. Of course, Squirtle may be a little bit harder since he hasn't been on a plane recently. He had the weekend to study up.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of an advantage for him, that he could prepare for this match in advance, while TaeJa, on the other hand, was playing in Helsinki and therefore had other things occupying him.
Yes, indeed. And so, yeah, we do have a factory going down for TaeJa, which is kind of interesting. And we have a second gas, so I think we might see him transition into starport play here pretty quickly. No sign of getting expansion right now. Whereas, on the other hand, Squirtle has 2 gas as well, but just the 1 gateway, and
Stargate.
there is a Stargate kind of pseudo-hidden on the corner of his base.
With the start positions that we have this time, it certainly makes a lot of sense to go for a little bit more real man drill deep. It's actually pretty funny. To the right side of the map we have an SCV just hiding, and
Yeah,
the
I was actually
advertisement
looking
of
at the
Blizzard.
SCV. It's really strange. The way the map is, the SCV on the mini-map looked like it was in space. So I was really confused. I was like, how does he have an air unit already? But it was just an SCV at the edge of the platform there. But the SCV was hiding so he could go back and try and re-scout Squirtle's base, but Squirtle has blocked off his ramp with a sentry and a stalker, so the SCV will not be able to gain any information except he's actually looking for the expansion, and that is actually information in and of itself that there is no expansion.
We have Phoenix play. We don't have any Void Rays at all. He's going straight for the Phoenixes. And one thing that he can do if you have Phoenix, it's a little bit of a build that has been around a while ago. If your opponent, you can obviously pick off Banshees. If there are tanks, you can lift them off with Graviton Beam in order to just make sure that pushes with the tank Marines are not that much of a threat anymore.
Well,
but lately, it has not really been a strategy that we've seen all that often. But especially against the Banshees, it helps a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Keldor. Okay, first of all, TaeJa just scanned and saw the Stargate, saw the Phoenix being produced, although this Phoenix has just also kind of revealed that.
Yeah, he knows.
But Squirtle just scouted Cloak being researched, and his robotics facility just started, so luckily he scouted that with the Phoenixes, otherwise he'd be in bad shape. Oh no! Whoa!
Awesome.
That is the best thing he could have done. Picks off the Banshee before Cloak is finished. Beautiful play, and now the second Banshee will knock it out and over to his base until an Observer is nearly done. So I was about to say this Cloak Banshee is going to do a ton of damage, but it's dead now. Very nicely done.
I can't remember the last time that I've seen Phoenix play, and the one thing that is really cool is that TaeJa actually canceled Cloak. This is something that we don't
beautiful.
see all that often. I really appreciate his decision.
And the second Banshee canceled to make a Raven.
But at the same time, I have to say that Squirtle's build is really interesting to me. He's going for 4 Phoenixes, he's expanding behind it, he's just trying to pressure his opponent, and this could work. I haven't seen it in a while, but he's doing a really good job killing another bunch of SCVs. Dodging those Marines, and as long as the Phoenixes are alive, he can just circle his opponent's base, pick off the occasional Harvester, put on a little bit of pressure, and TaeJa is in a tough situation right now. This is not easy to handle.
No, it's not. He is about to finish that Raven. I'm curious if he's going to make a Viking after that or something, so he has a little bit more control over the air. Of course, Vikings wouldn't be able to do too well in lesser numbers against a straight-up fight, but he can camp the Viking over the Marines, pick off things, maybe an engineer bay. Anyway, we do have the robotics support bay going down now for Squirtle, so he's going to transition into Colossus, and you know what? That makes a lot of sense. He's been running these Phoenixes around, and he's not only picking off SCVs here and there, but he's scouting everything, seeing the barracks, seeing the high Marine count. Very smart.
We still have this pylon at the bottom right of the Terran player's base, so in case there is some kind of an attack, he can always try to warp in at least a bunch of units in order to put pressure onto the entrance, which is a very, very useful thing to have. Another Marine bites the dust as the Phoenixes go in again on whoa! He's kind of lucky that he didn't lose the tank. TaeJa needs to be careful in overall supply. He's still in a slight advantage. But I have to say that Squirtle is playing a lot better than I expected. He's doing very well. He's on 2 base already, and he's going for extended thermal lance, the first Colossi. He has a couple of units, of gateway units, and TaeJa is in a really tough spot because Squirtle is just putting under pressure, killing another mule. This is a very, very nice Harris.
Picking off the mules, and it's going to get yet another mule. This is doing really, really well. I think at this point it might have been worthwhile. He was trying to not spend the money on it, but it would have been worthwhile for him to get an engineering bay and a couple of turrets just to stop this harassment a little bit. Only 3 Phoenixes running around doing a lot of damage. There were 4, he's picked off 1, but he's doing a good job of, again, keeping those Phoenixes alive, scouting everything. Everything. He's not making a single move. TaeJa is not, rather, that Squirtle does not see. Finally getting the engineering bay because he wants to move out. A large force of Marines, Marauders, and a single tank and Raven moving across the map.
The funny thing is that Squirtle's worst matchup is the matchup against Terran, so usually he's not a player that excels in TVP. The last few games that he played were against Yoda and Happy, and he was able to take down both of the Terran players, but apart from those 2 wins, he didn't do all that well in the past. So right now he is going for a strategy that seems to bear fruit as he's moving out now with his few Colossi, and he's doing a really good job. TaeJa, on the other hand, his matchup against Protoss is very, very strong, and he defeated a lot of good Protoss players in the past few weeks, but against Squirtle, he's definitely struggling.
Yeah, and here comes the attack, though. These Colossus are going to be so hard to deal with. The Vikings are just finally out, but they're not attacking. He's not attacking with the Vikings. The Colossus doing so much damage. It looks like he's barely going to push this back.
More
by
units
sheer force of
joining
will.
the party with the warp in pile that we mentioned earlier. The first Colossi about to die. He's still running in, stimming it, taking down another Colossus. TaeJa defending and taking down everything. The Medivacs, a huge help. The Marauders killing every single unit for Squirtle.
Yeah.
And Multihub, I don't know. Squirtle should have won this.
Well, he did lose over a dozen SCVs in that battle. He had to pull SCVs in order to win. But you're right, exactly. He should have done a little bit better, I think.
How many gates does he have?
I'm going to double check that right now. He's got 4 gateways. That's it. He's making 2 more right now.
I think with additional gateways, he would have been in a position where he could have won this.
Oh no, this drop might get picked off. He's going to drop out just in time. Is he going to be able to get this Colossus?
Wow,
Yes,
TaeJa is getting this. Wow. Really well done by TaeJa.
That was a little overly bold of Squirtle to have just a few units running around the middle of the map like that.
I still feel that the one thing that Squirtle was missing were additional gateways. With 4 gateways, he had a problem of reinforcing his army, and all the Marines and Marauders could stim in, take down the Colossi. But you're right, he lost a lot of SCVs, but he's making up for it now. He's putting pressure onto the main base of Squirtle, and it looks like TaeJa has this in the bag. He does! GG!
Wow. So, yeah, TaeJa...
oh, wow. TaeJa
he's
is
like,
really
whoa,
relieved.
that was close. Yeah, exactly.
Look at him.
He almost lost that game. It was very, very close to a
Squirtle
loss.
kind of dropped the ball there, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he did as much as he could. He got a really good timing. Here's the thing. We actually saw, remember when TaeJa moved out with his army? He scanned Squirtle's base and saw 2 Colossus and said, oh, crap, and went back home. And he barely had 2 Vikings out in time. He had almost nothing to deal with the Colossus. So it was a good timing for Squirtle to catch him off guard. But he just pulled SCVs, fought off the ground army. I don't know how the Colossus didn't do more damage.
Well, the Colossus did a fair amount of damage. The problem that he had was that the units in front of the Colossi that had to babysit them to protect them, there weren't enough of them, and with only 4 gates, he was not in a position where he could warp in enough units. If he had built 2 additional gates before that, and I guess we would have seen a different outcome of the game. Because in the end, the Colossi killed basically all the SCVs that TaeJa pulled. They killed a lot of the Marines as well. The 2 Vikings, as you pointed out in the fight, didn't do a lot of damage to the Colossi itself. But suddenly, all those Stalkers and the Zealots were gone, and there was nothing between the Marine Marauder composition that was left and the Colossi. So he stimmed in and took down every single unit. The reinforcements arrived too late. And I think with 2 additional gates, TaeJa would have been in a lot of trouble. Squirtle probably able to win the fight. But losing the Colossi and everything else was just a huge problem.
No, you're right. We didn't really see the reinforcements play a role at all in that battle, whereas TaeJa, of course, had his Vikings coming in at the last second. He had more reinforcements coming down the ramp as well, was able to win that battle. And then TaeJa pushed out with a small force to do a little bit of a drop and found a Colossus with 2 Stalkers in the middle of the map. And he's like, oh, sweet, free Colossus, a couple free Stalkers as well for the cherry on top of the sundae. And then, if he'd had that Colossus at home, then Squirtle holds the counterattack.
Squirtle wanted to put on a bit of pressure once again, and he warped in units and the warp in pile at the bottom, so he didn't have the units to protect the Colossus, and it was just a little bit unfortunate for Squirtle. But at this point, I feel like he already lost. Well, maybe not lost the game, but was a lot behind because he just lost so many units and the Colossus as well. Colossus are not a unit that you can waste, and this is exactly what happened in the first engagement.
No, they're so expensive.
Squirtle, after playing really well and putting on a lot of pressure onto his opponent, I feel like TaeJa definitely felt the pressure, and he was like, oh my god, this is not going as it was supposed to go. But yeah, with a little bit of a problem, Squirtle loses the game, and TaeJa is ahead with 1-0. So this is going to be quite interesting to see if Squirtle has some backup plan, some strategy to execute in order to take down TaeJa now.
Yes, indeed. Well, the map is going to be on Antigua Shipyards. So it's going to be an interesting situation. It's a very macro-oriented map oftentimes. It's very easy to hold your first 3 bases. But yeah, Squirtle, he's going to have to pull something out here. And Squirtle, he's a very strong player. He actually has very high win rate overall, looking at his past tournament games, but he's been struggling against Terran players. As you said, he did defeat Yoda and Happy recently, but I think that TaeJa's on a higher level than well, Happy's very good actually, so that's questionable. But point being, usually Squirtle does struggle against Terran, so this might not be his comfort zone.
Yeah, it is kind of his worst matchup, but, well, talking about his worst matchup with Korean players is always a little bit like, yeah, well,
that's right. So let's see, we're actually waiting for TaeJa to join the game here, and we're going to get started pretty soon. But thanks, by the way, to those of you that I haven't had a chance to look at them yet, but a couple of people did tweet me some possible leads on information about the LAN mode that we were talking about earlier. Apparently, it did have. Someone said it had something to do with hacking and exploits and that kind of thing. Someone also said that it might have to do with the maps, because the maps are based off of Battle.net, and of course with LAN, then we wouldn't be able to download the maps. Of course, that's something that you could have maps locally, I guess. So I don't know. Anyway, but
I don't get that. You can't have the maps locally right now?
The maps are usually based off of Battle.net, I think, yeah. I mean, you can have them locally. You don't download them every time, but I think it's just a matter of, like, if you want to start up a new map that you haven't had before, you have to download it when you start up the game. I don't know. Go read the stuff yourself. We're not experts on it just yet. I'm just saying that it's a couple of things that people were saying, giving some thanks to them. And TaeJa's joined the lobby. It looks like we're about ready to go. And Squirtle, like you said, he's going to have to pull out something special here. He's behind one game. If he loses this, he's out. But he's still in the up and down mashes. TaeJa is one game away from getting Code S.
There are a couple of very nice builds that he can pull off on Antigua Shipyard against the Terran player, especially when you build some kind. What I kind of like is if you try to execute either with the War Prism or with a lot of Blink Stalkers, some kind of attack that forces your opponent to pull back into the main base, and at the same time you have a small force going for the expansion, trying to force field the ram. I really love that. So we've seen it at Assembly a couple of times. It's nothing too special, but it's pretty cute, and if it works, it looks just awesome. So you can do a lot of damage to the expansion. You won't win the game straight away. Usually the Terran player at this point in time already has at least a medivac or two, and can just make sure that he is getting some force on the low ground as well, but he will receive a lot of damage. Nonetheless, the game is about to start, and we'll find out what Squirtle and TaeJa are going for in the next game. Antigua Shipyard is the second map. TaeJa is ahead with 1-0. Going to come out ahead. Who's going to advance Code S?
I love TaeJa's keyboard, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Pastel, multicolor keyboard. So awesome. The game is about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. Will TaeJa close out the series, or will Squirtle bring it to a Game 3? We're about to find out here at the GSL Code A. Bull Trap and Countdown.